Welcome to the Gals Guide to the Galaxy podcast, where a group of gals gather for you one cool thing around our topic of the month. Is it ancient history? Is it breaking news? Is it safe for work? Well, that's up to each gal. All we know is that...
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
It's a new month at Gals Guide Library, and it's Bonnie's favorite month because it's time to learn about science gals. Science! So let me introduce you to the fabulous 4 females who will lead us on the scientific journey. First up, she's already geeking out, and she's the library manager of Gals Guide. It's Bonnie Fellenworth! Yay! So Bonnie, tell the good people about yourself and your love of science.
Yes. I am a huge nerd.
Yes.
Love all the science.
Yep.
Science fiction and all the science ladies.
Yes.
I have to stop myself from painting like only the science ladies.
Right.
Because I really want to.
I don't think anybody would stop you that's here.
No. But there's like a bunch
would all
of
encourage
other
you to hate
awesome
the science
ladies that didn't
There
do
is.
just science.
True.
But the science ladies are my favorite.
There you go. I say paint what the hell you want. So next up, she knows all about chemistry because she's getting married next month. See what I did there? That's right. It's Katie Harris, people. Yay! So Katie, tell the good people about yourself and what you have been up to.
Well, it's ironic you mentioned chemistry because I definitely failed that twice at Ball State. So
This is a
Ew,
it's
maybe
because
I
it was
don't know.
The chemistry of love. I'm stretching. I'm
an
trying.
expert at that.
Damn mold.
I usually do the baking references and stuff, but I'm like,
I mean,
no.
baking is
It's
chemistry.
It is,
so
but I've used
has
it
to be
like
within my wheelhouse.
3 or 4 times.
And it's true. By the time all these air, I'll be so close to my wedding.
I know.
And I'm so excited. I don't know if everybody knows that Leah is officiating.
I
So
am.
she's going to do the deed for me.
I am. I'm gonna be dressed as either a squirrel,
Oh, yeah.
or as a Jedi, or in a muumuu.
As long as you're in a
still-
costume.
I'm gonna keep
Star
deciding.
Wars
Yeah.
themed
I say squirrel.
wedding.
Star Wars themed
Well,
wedding.
it- I-
Yes,
It's a spring wedding. Squirrel could
Squirrel.
be appropriate.
See? That's
Right.
obviously.
exactly.
May the 5th.
That's exactly. I know, right? All right. So next up, we have a returning guest and a bona fide science nerd. Look at that. So Jen Burke is back, everybody. Yay!
Thank you.
So Jen, remind the good people about yourself.
Well, it's not really also reminding because I got new stuff.
what's the
I got
new
new
stuff? Yes.
I got a new job,
Ooh.
and I am now an environmental scientist
Yes. All hail the Queen
Amazing.
Science. Yes.
and the Indiana Department of Health. And so what I'm doing is I'm
Sweet.
working right now in lead and healthy homes.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
so I go around. Right now, we're doing assessments at houses, checking on some kiddos and some people that might not be doing too good. And
Right.
so we go and check out the house, make sure that the danger's not there.
Yeah.
We also, I'm going to be educated and certified in radon detection and remediation.
Very cool. Yes.
See here, I'm also going to be watching over those who are supposed to be certified and doing the job proper. So I'm super
Right.
excited about this.
Oh,
And
that's
I
awesome. You
get
gotta
my
keep people's
name
homes
huge.
safe.
I know.
Using science.
I know. Homes, possibly businesses, and definitely schools, daycares.
Oh, very
The
cool.
kiddos.
Oh, the
Yes.
will babies. I love it. Oh, that is fantastic. Well, as for me, I am Dr. Leah Leach, the executive director of Gals Guide, and I effing love science. Sorry, it's a throwback to an old website that doesn't use that title anymore. So I love learning about the world around us and how interconnected we all are, and I'm excited to learn more about the fab science ladies this month. But before we dive into our first cool science gal, let's look at the Gals Guide calendar for this week, shall we? Dun, dun, dun. So, first off, we have First Friday's festivities. I love all the F's that I'm using in this
Yes.
particular episode. All over campus on May 6th. May the 6th be with you. From 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Come see what's new at the Gals Guide Library and enjoy some live music as well as beer and wine is available. On Saturday, May 7th, we have 2 events. So the first starts at 12 p.m. We are hosting a workshop to root your dreams. That's right. We are taking the wonderful wisdom of Dr. Terrarani Trent and we are putting our dreams in the soil and nurturing them to come true. So there is a $10 registration for this event, but you get really cool supplies like, seeds and a pot and soil. And we tell you your dreams are going to come true because they are. That's right. After the workshop, stay because we are hosting our very first LGBTQA plus ally meetup. So this event will be from 2 to 4. It is open to all ages. We're going to be meeting the first Saturday of every month to support our LGBTQ community. There is a real drought of support in Noblesville. So we are taking an active and positive stance to hold our space open for everybody. So for more information and to get those times or dates again, because I talk really fast, go to galsguide.org and click on the calendar. But now it's time for the moment that Bonnie's been waiting for. Bonnie, who is your one cool science gal?
I am going to be doing, and I can't believe I haven't done her yet.
Yes.
Rosalind Franklin.
Rosie.
How have we not done
She hates being called Rosie, doesn't she?
We'll get to that.
Rosalind Franklin.
She did like
yes.
Roz, though. You could call her
Oh, she liked Roz? I can do Roz. Okay, Roz, darling. Yes.
Doctor.
Oh, Dr. Roz.
Dr.
Wait,
Rosalind Elise
that
Franklin.
sounds like that sounds like Dr. Oz, though. Sorry. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
No thanks.
Yeah. Was born the 25th of July in 1920. Her parents were Ellis and Muriel Whaley. They were married in 1917 and had 5 children,
Oh.
3 boys, 2 girls. Rosalind was the second born and the oldest girl.
Okay.
Her father worked at the family bank, which only allowed men to work, even as secretaries or telephonists.
Oh, okay.
Her father's brother, Hugh, so her uncle, accosted Winston Churchill's home secretary
Oh my goodness.
on a train for Churchill's opposition to women's suffrage.
Oh, I kind of like that.
Yes. She's born in Britain. I don't think I mentioned that.
Oh, okay.
Mm,
Yes, there we go.
okay.
Yes.
Very British. He had been married twice. His
Okay.
second wife was a woman named Elise, which is where she gets her middle name.
Oh.
But Elise died of the Spanish flu, which we all know about now.
Right, now we know.
Yep.
Yeah, boy,
Mhm.
In 1919, before Rosalind was born.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Her aunt, Alice, cut her hair short and lived with another woman,
Ooh.
of which the family made no comment.
Oh, yes. Don't see
don't-
nothing, won't be nothing.
Don't talk, don't say.
We know what it is. Like it.
Her mother, Muriel, was intelligent but denied a college education because her mother disapproved.
Okay.
But she became an accomplished writer later in life.
Cool.
Oh, nice.
The family was both British and Jewish. They were upper middle class. Her father felt strongly against purchasing a second house,
Okay.
like many other families in their class, because some people didn't even have one home.
Cool.
How thoughtful.
So,
That's so kind of you.
but the entire family had a strong commitment of doing community service.
Okay.
So,
Awesome.
Yeah, okay.
But don't you dare buy that second house.
That'd be wrong.
That's the line.
That's the one.
Right. That second house crap. Not in my family. Right. Suddenly feel like buying a second home now.
Can I live in it?
Yes.
Okay.
It is going to be the size of my shed, though. That is really all I can afford at a second home. Is that okay?
The squirrel house.
It's the squirrel
house.
The nut house where it's fun. Yes.
Okay, the other siblings, the oldest brothers named David, and then there's Colin, Roland,
Yeah.
and Jennifer.
Jennifer?
What? Jennifer.
I didn't know you were one of the siblings.
She was born November 5th, 1929. She's
You're looking
pretty good.
great for being born in the
you.
20s.
Duh.
Look at that. Fabulous. What is your skincare regime?
The family had a nanny named Ada Griffiths.
So the nanny's fine, but not the second home. Got it.
Yep. They lovingly called Nanny.
No. How did they come up with this? Was there a meeting?
But she
Well,
was
they'd
so
hate
much.
to give her her own identity. She's clearly just a nanny.
Clearly.
But
Yes.
she was so much of the family that her birthday was planned for and celebrated.
Okay.
Oh.
And she taught Rosalind how to knit.
So she was considered a person without a name.
Yep.
Okay. And a craft person. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. No, that's great.
When
I don't know why I'm throwing so much shade on this family. I don't know why. I'm
She's
sorry.
Just wait. There will be plenty of
There's
shade.
more.
Oh, okay.
At
There's
the end.
more.
This is true.
There is
Probably
an-
because, yeah, okay.
There's
all right,
a bonus addition.
I'm just thinking
to
the men
this.
in her life were probably not always fabulous because of I know what happens next.
Yep.
Okay, but
a couple in
continue.
particular.
Yes.
Yes. When Rosalind was 6,
Yeah.
her aunt, Ellis's sister,
Okay.
Helen Mammy Bentwich,
Mammy.
yep,
I will let
wrote
that one
in a
go.
letter that Rosalind is alarmingly clever.
Oh,
She spends all of her
I want somebody to
time
write that about me. It's not going
alarmingly.
to happen.
dangerously
Shocking.
smart.
Oof.
Shocking.
You just
Shocking.
jump because it's so alarming. But she's alarmingly clever. She
Okay.
spends all of her time doing arithmetic for pleasure
Yeah.
and invariably gets her sums right.
The nerve.
Invariably.
The girl is
Word
good as math.
It's like, is
expectations
it
on
an
this woman.
accident? What?
What do we
Does
do with this
math for
freak of
fun.
nature?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. How will
Mammy
she get her
hers-
knitting done?
Mammy herself had gotten a degree from Bedford College,
But not a
Mammy?
name.
but was
Okay.
not expected to have a career.
Mm.
And then her mother, which would have been Rosalind's grandmother,
Mhm.
Carolyn Jacob Franklin, also had a degree from Bedford.
What?
And this time in British society for women, superior intelligence was an embarrassment. As-
How
so
did-
I think it's
Like, go
weird
to
that
college,
she's
though?
Yeah.
surrounded by all these other women who've gone to college,
Right.
even if they're not expected to have careers.
Yeah.
But let's not do math.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's odd.
Gotta stick with literature.
My brain hurts.
Why'd they even let her in then? But okay,
Right.
sure.
Exactly.
No.
Sure. I
Awesome.
don't think college was free. I mean,
Nope.
okay.
No, yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Rosalind attended a private day school,
Okay.
just like her older brother David, which is still standing in Holland Park Avenue.
Okay.
At the time, it had co-education until 11 years old,
Mhm.
and then only taught girls.
Okay.
The curriculum included history, literature, arithmetic, woodworking, and sports.
Oh. I thought it was going to be more
Math.
like cleaning and
Or as they
Oh,
call
sewing.
it,
Oh yeah.
Something along those lines.
Housekeeping or
Yeah.
home economics.
okay.
I don't think that was invented.
No.
Yeah,
not
it
yet,
was invented
So that's why I
later,
went.
yeah.
Yeah,
True.
that way.
Fair.
Yep. I'm intentionally calling it arithmetic because I
Okay.
refuse to call it maths.
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 She's
The
British.
The
Math.
British maths.
It's maths. I love it.
She attended Bexhill Boarding School
Okay.
for young ladies at 9 years old. David attended another boarding school nearby, and her family sent her Hebrew lessons by mail weekly
Mhm.
Cool.
for her
Mhm.
to do, while the other girls attended church services.
Oh,
Mhm.
all right.
The subjects there included geometry, more math,
Oh my gosh. What will
geography,
she do?
and Elizabethan poetry.
There it is.
Mhm.
And as well as they had a lecture series as well.
Cool.
Every Monday, marks were given. And Rosalind wrote home one week realizing that she was fourth in the class, but should have been first
Right.
because she had done the math, but asked her parents not to say anything for fear of getting in trouble for keeping track of her own grades.
Love
No.
her. It's kind of like when I argue history facts and I say I know how to do math, and it's really comparing just the dates of what came first.
Yeah.
I feel a kinship.
And at age 11, she attended St. Paul's Girls' School.
Okay.
Nanny had attended the school as a girl, and Cecilia Payne Gabashkin had
Ah.
also attended in 1917.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right, gotcha. Which
same
was
school,
our
different time.
also astronomer.
Yes.
Yes, cool.
Yes.
Look at that, tying those science ladies together. Sweet.
By 16, she showed a strong interest in chemistry, physics, and math.
Okay, cool.
The whole family did attend the 1937 King's coronation for Edward.
Right.
But they also lived in Britain during the time of the rise of Hitler.
Yeah.
Because 1937.
Yes. Right.
The family took in 2 refugee girls.
Gotcha.
At age 17, she took entrance exams in physics and chemistry for Cambridge. And placed first in chemistry.
Yay!
She left for Cambridge, London. London was preparing for war. Homes were adding bomb shelters. Trenches were being dug in parks. And public bomb shelters were organized.
Oh, goodness. All as she was leaving for college?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Cambridge University at the time did not award degrees to women. Only titular degrees.
Titular degrees.
Love those titular degrees.
We know what those titular degrees mean.
Many of the other girls brought gas masks from home.
Oh.
And Rosalind was claustrophobic, and instead of being in the shelter, she volunteered to be an air raid warden instead of being down in there.
Well, she knew what her strengths and weaknesses were, so she's like, no. I'll sound the alarm.
It was at Cambridge where she first learned the process called X-ray crystallography.
Yay.
And in a 1939 exam, Rosalind felt she did horribly, but got joint second place overall. Like, these ladies have so much in common.
Yeah.
Her father, Rosalind's father, did not want her to attend a second year at university,
Right.
insisting that she should join the war effort and that he would not pay, but her mother and Aunt Alice said they would pay.
There you go. Right, yes.
Her father wrote to her while she was at school, questioning that perhaps she was losing her religious faith. And she replied with one of my favorite quotes that science and everyday life cannot and should not be separated.
Aw, look at that. See, I love it. That should be on like a piece of artwork or something.
Yeah, I know. Working on that one. While at college, she attended a lecture by Adreline. Oh, goodness.
Names.
Yeah, I forgot to write that. These are my notes from my star-based lecture, and I forgot to write down how to pronounce her name. It's Adreline Wheel?
Okay.
Maybe?
Sure.
It's Weill. She's a student of Madame Curie.
Oh, really? Hey.
Her doctoral thesis work was assigned to her working with coal and why some forms of coal are much more impervious to penetration by gas or water than others. So they were thinking maybe improving like gas mass or something. By putting
okay.
The
particular
coal
type of
filter on
coal.
it makes sense.
Yes.
She once found a sign in a machine shop of the lab that said it was out of bounds to non-certified personnel. She flipped the signs around and used the equipment anyway.
Very nice.
Yeah, whoopsie.
Kind of like the Hidden Figures lady that just kind of like put the sign that segregated it in their purse, and the sign never showed up again.
And she became friends with Adreline, the Madame Curie student.
Right,
native,
okay, yes.
That if you ever hear of anybody anxious for the services of a physical chemist who knows very little about physical chemistry, but a lot about the holes in coal, please let me know.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
She got a job in 1947 working at a lab in Paris, not far from where Madame Curie and her husband discovered radium. She enjoyed hiking, swimming, and bike rides.
Sweet.
Her friend Jean recalled later that Rosalind never talked about men in any kind of romantic way, no matter how much they tried to get her to. That they all wondered for a while as she preferred the company of women, but came to the conclusion that Rosalind, quote, would have liked a relationship with a man, but had not the remotest idea of how to cope with them or where to start.
Wait, what?
So the idea of men was okay, but
The reality, not so much.
But it's just not gonna happen. They're just too much. It's just too much.
I agree. What?
Her cousin Irene once asked her in 1953 why she never married, and Rosalind said that the only men she ever liked were already married.
Oh, that's an easy answer.
Oh,
but
sister,
that's fine.
I understand.
In January of 1951, she returned to London and began began working at King's College, where she was assigned with Gosling and Wilkins to work on DNA.
Right.
She got off to a rocky start with Wilkins, as he was away on holiday when she started working, and he assumed that she was hired as an assistant.
Of course.
Mhm.
Of course.
Yep.
Because he's a
Yep.
sexist pig. Oh, wait. Is that spoilers?
Okay. I mean, like, all of them are just,
Oh,
all
yeah.
of them are, like,
Yeah.
not, I
Terrible.
mean, Watson's just horrible all around.
Yeah.
All the other dudes just seem to be making kind of small mistakes that
Okay.
when they're all
Alright.
combined together,
Right.
it's not, there was probably an issue with the dude running the department. He
Oh,
was
okay.
writing
Yeah,
letters
yeah,
to
yeah.
Rosalind promising this job,
Right.
and he informed Wilkins,
Yeah.
that she was going to be starting there.
Right.
But I guess didn't fill her in exactly what capacity
He didn't
or
bother
whatever.
to read the email.
Yeah. There was the rumors that he liked to stir the pot.
You mean the
around.
telegram?
The telegram. Yes,
Close
exactly. No, I just thought the email was funny. Definitely
I did
didn't.
too. I just
Definitely
wanted to
didn't
call
read
you
that
out.
email.
When you
As
make your
previously
telegram
stated.
too long.
I know. Smoke signals just didn't get there.
Rosalind began to dislike Wilkins.
No.
He noticed and asked others around the lab what to do. His assistant, Gosling, suggested that he should buy her chocolates.
That's cool.
Yep.
I mean, I take the chocolates and then tell him to get the hell out.
Yep.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
Oh,
The boys in the lab called her Rosie behind her back, but
Yeah.
never to her face.
Right, same.
Okay.
Well, it's
I
supposed
call
to
her
be
Rosie behind
because
her
she
back, too.
had, she was like very serious with her work, and while she's at work, she's at work.
Right.
So it was kind of like a play that she is a rosy disposition.
Mhm. It's calling like big people tiny,
that
sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But she had a very active social life outside of work. She had
Huh.
lots of friends and loved to socialize. So it's not her.
It's not her fault that all of her coworkers are jerks.
Yep. Wilkins first met James Watson in 1951 at a conference in Naples, and when Watson was 23.
Mhm.
James Watson, at 15, attended the University of Chicago and got his doctorate at Indiana University.
Oh.
What? That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Right.
And appeared on the quiz radio show program in his adolescence.
Gotcha.
The
Quiz show?
I think it's supposed to be like the Whiz Kids or something.
Okay,
but I
alright,
put in
gotcha.
the Quiz Kids.
Oh, the quiz kid. Okay, all right,
The
gotcha.
Quiz Kids. I'm guessing it's like Jeopardy or
Probably.
something. Or,
Yeah.
A college professor of his was always angry at him for never taking notes.
Okay.
And that'll come back later.
Oh, no.
Yep. Rosalind was very focused on her work, and anything that seemed to get in her way, such as returning lab equipment to other departments could use it, seemed to upset her. She was like, no, I need this. I'm busy. Get away. On the way to the Second International Conference of Crystallography in 1951, Rosalind shared a boat cabin with Dr. Dorothy Crawford Hodgkin.
Oh, Dorothy Hodgkin.
Yes.
Oh,
She
yeah.
was an X-ray crystallographer who discovered the structure of penicillin, vitamin B12, and insulin.
Yes. I mostly know her as the insulin lady.
Yep.
Cool.
Lots of things.
They shared a boat?
They shared a boat, and they became friends.
Cabin.
Yay!
By the end of 1951, she was writing to Paris asking for her old job back.
Oh.
So how X-ray crystallography works is that atoms are too small to see with a microscope or with cameras, or at least at that time. I'm
Yes.
sure they still are. So a molecule is crystallized, so everything lines up in a pattern instead of being like kind of a randomized mess.
Mhm.
The X-rays are shot at the molecules, and a photographic film is placed behind it so that the shadows are captured on the film, and mathematical calculations are done to like measure the distance.
Mhm.
Rosalind developed a technique for drying and rehydrating DNA, and the material in the vacuum tube needs to be moist but not humid enough to fog up the camera lens. So there's like a fine line.
Yeah.
So she was like dehydrating and rehydrating it.
So it was a skill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got it.
And it was a 100-hour exposure
Whoa.
for this. And the DNA was pulled from flesh of animal bits from the butcher. Is what the...
Gross.
Yep. Well, I mean...
Cool.
I guess it's probably better than using, like, the scientist's spit.
Yeah,
or something.
I guess.
But,
okay.
Yep. There was a particular... I think it was a fish that they like to use. There one particular fish that had really good long strands of DNA.
Woot.
Okie dokie.
Woot.
Rosalind was often seen working in unsafe conditions with the x-rays. And France, she wore a badge that would indicate if her exposure was too much, and they would be barred from returning to the lab for 2 weeks. At King's, she did not wear a lead apron.
Oh. With all that radiation. Yeah.
But Watson and Crick decided they were going to have a race for DNA that no one else knew about.
Mm-hmm.
They were the only ones participating in this race.
So that's how they're going to win, if they're the only ones that know about it. Okay.
They built a model of DNA in 1951, and then they showed it to Franklin, and she quickly pointed out several mistakes. William Ashbury concluded earlier that DNA was definitely made out of 4 base pairs, stacked like pennies, and Irwin Chaga said that the pairs were always in even numbers. They also thought that the structure was in some sort of helix shape, which was like all the rage in science. Everything was helixes at this point. Like it was the trending thing.
Right.
Watson and Crick's model had the phosphates on the inside. Rosalind knew that they needed to be on the outside because of the way the water was absorbed.
Okay.
So they showed her, and they wanted to be praised of, hey, look how smart we are. And she's
Look
like,
what we did,
actually, you've
little
made
lady."
several mistakes.
Let me show you where we're wrong on the diagram.
Yep. But in May of 1952, she took photograph 51, which is like the legendary photo that like proves the double helix structure of DNA.
Yay!
And she put it in a drawer.
Oh. Was it with Hedy Lamar's blueprint for Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, in a drawer.
The way the Watson and Crick worked was that they like to just build the model first.
Sure.
And Rosalind's style was to just come up with the evidence. Like she wanted everything planned out and backed up with evidence.
Gotcha. She needed to see it so she could be it and prove it over and over again. Okay. Yeah, fair.
Scientist named Pauling in California sent a paper proposing the structure of DNA with 3 helixes and bases on the outside.
Okay.
Watson knew it was wrong.
Okay.
And figured he had about 6 weeks until he published his own correct solution.
Because again, he was in a race that he didn't tell anybody that he was in a race, and it was okay.
Pauling's son worked with Watson as like an assistant, so that's how he knew of Pauling's research and like kind of where he was at. He was pretty much just like, hey, tell me what your daddy's working on.
Spy from the inside.
Yep.
Okay.
Watson showed up at Rosalind's office to show her Pauling's paper, presumably to convince her to share her data so they can beat him to it. His account states that suddenly Rosie came from behind the lab bench that separated us and began moving towards Mary. Fearing that in her hot anger she may strike me, I grabbed up the Pauling manuscript and hastily retreated to the open door. Watson's a very tall man, and Rosalind's very tiny.
Dramatic.
Yes.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it is.
So after the whole lab knew that Rosalind was going to be leaving the lab, Wilkins shows Watson photograph 51.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Without Rosalind's permission.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Uh-huh. And they're like, oh, she's going to go anyway, and we need this information because we're in a race that only we know of.
And after the whole model debacle, Watson's like supervisor was like, no, don't work on DNA anymore.
Yeah.
Because it was like a thing back then that you just had one scientist work on like a thing and you let them work on it. It was like a competition race thing. So he was like, they're working on it. You're not allowed to work on it anymore. So he's like working on it in his spare time.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So what Photograph 51 shows us is that it confirms the double helix shape.
Mm-hmm.
It shows that each section has 10 units, and it's what they call the B form of DNA.
Okay.
And Rosalind was the one that discovered that DNA has both an A form and a B form, which I think was kind of like the dehydrated and the rehydrated form.
Oh, okay. All right.
Is what that was.
Gotcha. It starts to get a little sciencey.
Yeah. Yeah. But Watson made sketches of what he saw on the back of a newspaper on the way home and began building a model in 1953.
Okay.
Watson also got a hold of Rosalind's MRC report that gave evidence for a symmetrical shape as well as two chains running in opposite directions.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the key word there is he found her work.
Yep. It's my favorite internet meme. Yeah. What did Watson and Crick discover? Rosalind Franklin's notes.
Right. Exactly. Yes. Her notes.
Watson originally thought that since they knew that the pairs were always in even numbers, that it was AA, TT, CC, and GG.
Okay.
Jerry Donahue showed him the correct form of the molecules to use, which then led to the AT-CG pairs that we know today.
Gattaca?
So really, he discovered nothing.
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 So
like, there's
except
nothing about this.
How to copy things down.
Yeah. You just take little pieces from everybody.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's how science gets done.
He had to borrow people's notes.
Yep.
Right. To win a test that he didn't.
Forgot to take his own.
Yep.
Great.
Apparently.
Best note taker ever.
He's like literally taking
Even
them
put this
Yes.
in
out of people's
here?
hands.
Mm-hmm. You know.
I don't think I even put this in here. At some point, Watson like attends a lecture of Rosalind's, and like she had Photograph 51 in it and was like talking about this stuff.
Right.
He didn't take notes.
Right. Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he would have known all this
Yes.
earlier without like stealing her stuff, but
Wow.
okay.
He would have just taken notes.
Yep.
Of his own.
Yep.
Great.
But he discovered it because he didn't know.
He wasn't listening in the first place.
Yep. But Watson was buddies with a dude who worked in the publication of Nature, the magazine.
The Nature magazine. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So they've come up with like a deal to have Watson's and Crick's published first, like
Okay.
in order.
Yeah.
April 25th, 1953.
Okay.
Which is also why April 25th is DNA Day.
Oh, look at
Which
that.
was
Just a couple of days
yesterday.
ago
Yep.
at the time of recording. Yes, exactly.
So Watson Crick's papers going first,
Okay.
and then Wilkins and Stokes,
Okay.
and then Franklin and Gosling's.
Interesting. Yeah.
So this was
Yeah.
done to like explain where Watson and Crick got their information.
Sure.
As none of it had been published and was confidential, the order of the articles makes it appear that Watson and Crick had the great idea, while Rosalind's research nearly confirmed and supported
Right.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course. And instead of the opposite.
Or really, instead of that, she did it all.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She discovered it, then confirmed it.
Right. And wrote it down.
Mhm.
And yeah.
Yep.
Mhm. Yeah.
The big line from it is that it has not escaped our notice that the specific pairing we have postulated immediately suggests a possible copying mechanism for genetic material.
I mean, I just love the word copying mechanism. I feel like it's very telling.
Yeah. In their paper, they do not mention that their conclusions was based on Rosalind's research.
Of course.
What?
Which,
'Cause that was obvious.
Which in today's day, that'll get you kicked out of school, because that's
Yeah,
plagiarism.
That is plagiarism.
Yes.
Yep. But by the time the articles have been published in Nature, Rosalind already began working in another laboratory. And she was assigned to work on viruses, particularly the tobacco mosaic virus.
Gotcha.
Her office was on the 5th floor and had a leaky ceiling and often worked with an umbrella protecting her papers.
Oh my gosh.
She worked with Alan Klug, who later won a Nobel Prize for his work done with Rosalind.
Oh my gosh.
And he mentions Rosalind in his speech.
Cool. Cool. Was spoiler, she still alive at the time that he said his
No.
speech? Oh, okay. All right.
But yeah, we'll get to that.
Okay. Interesting.
They determined that the tobacco mosaic virus also has a helix shape,
Okay.
and that it was a hollow tube on the inside,
Yeah.
and a model was requested to be built. While giving a lecture tour of the U.S., she felt some abdomen pain, and a doctor told her to just see a doctor when she got home. And when she got home and saw that doctor, he diagnosed her with ovarian cancer. But she was determined to still work. One person in the lab recalled her crawling up the stairs, refusing to be carried. The 5th floor!
Oh no.
And she died April 16th, 1958, at the age of 37.
37.
Yuck.
And it's about the same date that she died that the virus model was unveiled at the Brussels World Fair.
There we go. That was the World Fair. Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh. And I mean, we don't know for sure, but she was doing a lot of radiation stuff. She was doing a lot of
Yeah.
X-ray stuff, and
Yeah.
she
That's what
wasn't
they assumed.
wearing protective gear. But I mean, there also wasn't very well protective gear at the time. But
Because, I mean, she liked to
man.
hike and stuff, so...
right,
I mean, otherwise she seemed to be in good health, so...
right.
Well, even now, ovarian cancer is hard to find and hard to see and hard to
Mhm.
diagnose
Right.
before it
Mhm.
goes too far.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, once it's gone too far, then you can find it. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
exactly. What
so
the what
helpful.
with that? I don't know.
Right.
Her tombstone reads, "Scientist, her research and discoveries on viruses remain of lasting benefit to mankind."
Aw.
And in 1984, Watson gave a lecture at St. Paul's, Rosalind's old school.
Mhm.
He still insisted that they did not steal from her, that they were...
Oh man.
Gross.
that they were just more interested in DNA than she was.
Gross.
The head of the chemistry department wrote in his notes,
They cared more.
Yeah.
I mean, she did all the work, but they cared more. Oh my god.
but the head of chemistry wrote in his notes that the science block is still talking about that horrible man.
That horrible man.
So in 1968, James Watson publishes a book called The Double Helix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which actually we have in the library as a reference.
Don't let me find it.
I know. It's a reference. I would rather have books about Rosalind.
He refers to her as Rosie
Mhm.
in the book.
Yeah.
The nerve.
Yeah. He knew what he was doing.
Ugh. So Watson
The
wrote...
book is also like that thick. Like he
Yeah.
can't really write. It's probably pretty much her papers that he's publishing in the book.
Watson wrote in The Double Helix, "Momentarily, I wondered how she would look like if she took off her glasses and did something novel with her hair."
The woman always looked proper. She like the picture that everybody sees.
Yeah,
she's
she's
wearing
always wearing, like-
pearls. Her hair is nicely coiffed.
Is she smiling?
No,
she's
she's-
smiling right now.
She's being a scientist.
Yeah.
Just stern.
Though her features were quite strong, she was not unattractive and might have even been quite stunning, had she even taken a mild interest in clothes.
I hate him more.
There was
I didn't know
never-
I could hate him more.
Oh, you just wait.
Oh god, there's more.
There's
That
more.
horrible band.
There was never lipstick to contrast with her straight black hair.
She didn't have enough lipstick?
Yep.
She's a scientist, damn it.
I was gonna say, I'm sorry she's doing science.
Wilkins complained that everyone was portrayed badly in Watson's book, except for Watson himself.
No.
So much so that Harvard University Press refused to publish it. Crick wrote to Watson, "Your book is misleading and in bad taste.
Oh.
It does not illuminate the process of scientific discovery and distorts it."
Okay, thanks, Crick.
Wilson also asked if there was any mention in the book that Franklin had died. Watson later adds on a bit at the end about how it must have been hard for a woman in science at the time.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. Watson.
So why wasn't Rosalind given the Nobel Prize?
Hi.
In 1962, it was
Because she
awarded.
didn't wear lipstick.
2 X
Yeah,
chromosomes.
really.
There's that too. Yeah. 2 X chromosomes
yeah.
and a lack of lipstick.
So 1962 is awarded to Watson, Crick, and Wilkins, and Rosalind's only mentioned in passing by Wilkins in the speeches.
Right.
At the time, Nobel Prizes were only awarded to living people.
Yeah.
She had already died at this point.
Right.
They also had a limit on how many people can share a prize, which is
Okay.
3.
Okay. Convenient.
Right.
Like later when they like, because everyone asks Watson about it all the time,
Right.
and he's just like, "Well, we liked Wilkins." It's
Okay.
the bro club.
It is the bro code.
Whoop.
Yay.
The Nobel Committee has several instances of people who should not have received a prize or should have it taken away.
Right.
But also, she probably should have gotten 2 with her work
Yeah.
with Alan
With
Clug.
both.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. But she was deceased at the time.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, some great books
Yeah.
on Rosalind Franklin is Barbara Max's Rosalind Franklin, The Dark Lady of DNA.
Mm-hmm.
Howard Markel, The Secret Life, Rosalind Franklin, James Watson, Francis Crick, and the Discovery of DNA's Double Helix.
Nice.
Yeah. So Barbara's book is pretty just like all Rosalind, while Howard's book is more of like all the different things that's going on. Like it talks
Right.
about like the work done in California, and it kind of gives background on all the dudes.
Cool. Get a
so-
much more rounded story, but yeah, learning about Roz.
So bonus round.
Yes.
Woo.
Uh-oh.
Why?
Is this when
Why
he gets...
James Watson is a trash person.
Is this when he gets super racist?
Yep.
Yep.
He's
Ooh.
also the only one living of these people.
Gross.
Watson, Crick, Wilkins, Gosling.
Right.
It's the only one. There's also a really good, I think, a PBS documentary. I think it's called The Dark Lady of DNA.
Okay.
It's really
Okay.
good. And it has a lot of the people in it. Like, it
Oh,
has,
okay.
like, her friends. It has Gosling and Wilkins. Watson refused.
Oh,
He's part of it.
why? Because it
Oh.
wasn't about
Hmm.
him. Okay. Yeah.
When Watson met Wilkins, he noticed that Wilkins was taking an interest in his sister Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
So he encouraged this relationship, hoping that it would lead to Watson getting a job at King's College.
Oh,
So pawning off his sister so he can get a job.
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gross.
Classy.
Okay.
In his letters and throughout the books is constant comments about pretty girls.
Oh.
Like,
Yeah.
all the time.
No.
Just about, like, what cities had pretty girls, what events had pretty girls. Like,
Wow.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
He initially invited a 20-year-old former research assistant to come with him to accept the Nobel Prize.
Uh-huh.
She declined,
No.
stating that she had a boyfriend.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he's 34.
Yeah.
So apparently, like, I don't know. Who knows if she's just like, I have a boyfriend as an excuse?
Yeah.
Because we all know that
That's
line
the very safety.
of when a dude won't leave you alone at a bar,
Right,
you have to
exactly.
say, I'm someone else's property.
Right, exactly.
Or
Please
he
don't.
just didn't know her well enough to know that she had a boyfriend.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
Either way, this isn't something that you need to say for safety to your
Yeah.
colleague.
To go to freaking Europe.
Right.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
He pursued several romances with undergraduate students.
Yeah.
Which is not something you should do.
Right?
But he married Elizabeth Lewis in 1968. He was
Okay.
40. She was 19.
Gross. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I shouldn't
Sure.
expect anything else. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And in 2000, Watson declared a connection between skin color and sex drive.
There it is.
Lovely.
That dark-skinned people have higher libidos.
Science. Did he find that in somebody else's notes?
Maybe.
Sounds like it.
And 2000, he also said, whenever you interview fat people, you feel bad because you know you're not going to hire them.
Oh.
All around.
Breathe.
He's amazing.
In 2007, he said that people from Africa are
Oh, God, no.
of African descent are less intelligent than Westerners based off of IQ scores.
Inaccurate. Yeah.
And
He is
he's
so
repeatedly suggested that the bottom 10% of all really stupid people
Oh, no.
should be cured.
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 Yeah. No, I got a
Or-
pill for it.
Yeah, that sounds like eugenics to me.
A little bit. Oh, no. Yep. Watson's great. Gracious. I'm so glad that he got to live as long as he did to tell people about the DNA.
All these people are still like constantly asking him about Rosalind.
Oh my god.
Like that
Which
seems to be his
must-
curse.
He's not
Drive
gonna
him
change his
crazy.
tune. He's not gonna suddenly give her any kind of credit.
I don't even think it'd be on his deathbed. I don't think
No.
it's because I think he believes it. 100%. That
He's been
that's not-
reiterating it
Yeah.
for so long that
yeah, it's the pathological liar in him. He just 100% believes what he's saying.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
I mean, he didn't take notes, to be a contrary, so that he could remember what his notes were.
Mm,
later,
Right.
what his
Well,
thoughts were.
and the proof that those weren't his notes.
Exactly. Does he even have notes?
I don't know.
Does he even know
It's
how
all
to
in
write?
here.
Sure, it is like a lockbox trapped with a whole bunch of images of 20-year-olds. Great. But you know what? But I love Rosie, though. Rosalind. And you have an artwork about her, too.
I do. I have a painting of her,
Yes.
which is available in prints, postcards, pins.
Exactly.
All the
It's
good
got the
things.
DNA sequence
Yep.
code
So
kind of
cool.
running behind her. It's
Mhm.
really, really pretty. That wraps it up for us this week. Join us next week for another cool woman of history as the Gals Guide podcast continues. Thanks for listening. For show notes, links, and images from this week's show, visit galsguide.org. Want exclusive stuff like deleted bits and major bloopers? Become a Gals Guide patron today. Thanks for listening.